Did you? I assume you guys all saw the less stuff.
Potentially reasons why this team did not stay together. I know there was comments about like how it was money based or whatever, but like me.
And SACY had said that one of the big things that he was getting frustrated about and
Eu quero apresentar a vocês a ONLYPADS, que além de apoiar o Smokemid, também apoia outros criadores de conteúdo como Belk, Taihu, Spaca e Charola. E eles acabaram de me enviar esse X-Lite V2 da Pulsar, um mouse simplesmente insano, com certeza o melhor que já tive, e chegou muito rápido. A ONLYPADS é uma empresa focada em ajudar pessoas a atingirem alta performance no FPS, e faz isso através de um serviço especializado, onde indica os periféricos corretos baseado em sua configuração e outras métricas. Ou seja, eles indicam exatamente o periférico que vai encaixar perfeitamente pra você. Então vai lá no Instagram deles, diz que veio pelo Smokemid, fala o que tá querendo que eles vão indicar o melhor periférico pra você. O link vai estar aqui na descrição. Fala galera, tudo bem com vocês? Nas últimas semanas, uma polêmica tomou conta do cenário de Valorant, após o desabafo do Lei sobre o ambiente da Loud em 2022. Caso você não esteja por dentro do assunto, tem vídeo aqui no canal sobre isso, então confere lá. E recentemente rolou o Player Chat, que é um dos maiores podcasts sobre Valorant, e essa semana contou com o Xangares, que tem uma enorme carreira como jogador de Counter-Strike e também como coach de Valorant, e que agora é caster da Riot. E lá eles debateram e deram suas opiniões sobre essa polêmica e separamos aqui pra gente conferir, saca só?
did you? I assume you guys all saw the less stuff. I know that it's been a couple of weeks now since that, but I don't think we talked about it on the podcast at all. But less is really playing with an absolute fuck you attitude at the moment, and it seems to have extended outside of the game against Sentinels too, where he's like spraying SACY's body and talking about how the work environment was not. What I don't know what phrasing he used, but essentially like really aggressive work environment that they had last year with Loud. What does anyone feel qualified from the translated stuff to comment about that kind of stuff, about like how intense a work environment like that should be, like what's acceptable?
I kind of read like both sides translated, like what SACY was responding to, and SACY just kind of said like, yeah, I mean, I wanted the best out of my players, that sort of thing. It was just like, yeah, of course, like that's how I am. But I don't know. To me, it makes sense that Les could harbor some ill will towards SACY or whoever. But it also felt like, based off the translation, that Sadak was kind of an accessory to it too. So I'm surprised that the shift has happened so significantly in Loud, where they're like, it's great, it's so positive, we're always just looking to improve and stuff like that. I'm a little surprised by that. But I don't know. Different players have different reactions to that sort of thing. So
Sadak had spoken about it and said that that he had followed SACY's kind of point of view at the time and had changed his approach to it for this year. And he had, the way that Sadak was talking about it, or at least the way that it was translated, was like, I really appreciate working with SACY. He taught me so much, but I don't think everything we did back then was really good. Yeah. And I've chosen a different approach going forwards. Well, Sean, what kind of attitudes do you prefer in terms of like having a captain or having like from a coach's role? Like, do you enjoy the like hard ass, really require the best from absolutely everybody approach?
Yeah. So when I was like, it's changed a lot over the years. Like when I was IGLing in CS, like as a pro, I just did everything. Like I had no coach. I would just tell everyone what to do. I'd like micro everyone. And then it changed over the years where I would like delegate things. I would start, because I realized like, oh, I can't tell people what to do enough in a given round. So I need to start delegating information for them to learn throughout like the week. And then we would reconvene as a group and go over it. And then nowadays, like when I built the 100 Thieves team, now that I have kids, it's a big focus of mine, like how you communicate with people, right? Like, so when I built the 100 Thieves team, I made sure like all the players could communicate well and feel heard and understood how to communicate to each other, as well as listen to others to make them feel heard. That was something I kind of learned when having kids, like, and just like going through like a bunch of shit. So I actually
read a parenting book to learn how to coach.
Yeah. So like in 100 Thieves, honestly, like the way that I like to do it is I would like tell them things and then I would ask questions. So that way everyone had the same idea. So I'd be like, hey, when we do this setup, what do they do if they go B? What do they do if they go A? I know the answer. I know what I would do, but I want you to tell me what you would do. And I want, Bang over there to tell me what he would do. And I want you both to decide together what that answer is going to be. And I want to do that for like a million different scenarios, right? Like and certain people communicate that in different ways. And I'm guessing SACY is very, very direct the way he communicates those things. And when things go wrong, people have different ways of communicating that, right? So you might create a setup like the one I just described, like what happens if they go A, but you don't iron out like what if they go B in the practice. And SACY might be the kind of player like, what the fuck were you doing, Les? You know, like the setup it's so obvious, like you rotate this way. And that kind of communication probably rubbed off the wrong way. But it's very common in these esports teams. It's super common. Like, I'm not going to take a side on this because like I've seen both ways, and I totally understand SACY's point of view, and I totally understand Les's point of view. It's just how people like to communicate.
But
that's all it is.
For me, I just speculate further about potentially reasons why this team did not stay together. I know there was comments about like how it was money based or whatever, but like me, it all comes down to the players' relationships at the end of the day. And when you see it split up and get fractured like that, I think of that as a reason.
Very possibly.
But yeah, to be frank, I mean, like all sports environment have the different sides too. Like MJ was a fucking dickhead. Like Michael Jordan was a dickhead, but he was still the greatest player of all time. Like, and his teams were fantastic at doing the things that he liked to do, which was setting himself up.
And that was SACY's point, right? That they won champions, and they improved so much throughout the year as well.
Turned into a fucking demon. I mean, from the beginning of the year with Loud, which they were still great, but less to the end where he was Finals MVP in my mind. Like, come on, there's such a big difference.
It wasn't linear though to me. I mean, he looked fantastic at Reykjavik in my mind, and then he went down a lot when he was playing Chamber, and then back up again towards the end to an even higher peak than we'd seen him the first time. And SACY had said that one of the big things that he was getting frustrated about, and probably articulating himself in a very bad way, was that that Les would like forget certain protocols and things that they'd hammered in scrims wouldn't translate through to matches, and SACY would get frustrated because he knew that Les knew it, but it wasn't coming through in the game. It's difficult, like when a player has a point of view of like anything's acceptable, or not anything, but like those kind of behaviors are necessary for you to win, right? And Loud has taken a very different approach this year, which is we're going to win even without being pricks to each other, basically. We're gonna win without getting aggressive in terms of how we communicate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it just depends. Like, it really depends on like what a player thinks. Like, right? Like, I felt like I had to always be there for the practices and the boot camps and stuff like that, just because you need that kind of environment for team morale and like the buy-in. Certain people just think teams need certain things, and SACY probably thought he needed to be really direct to get issues ironed out. Les probably wanted to be communicated in a nicer way. It is what it is. Like,
there's a lot of hard asses in the scene. I mean, a lot of them in the coaching roles as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mas e aí, qual a sua opinião sobre o que foi falado? Já deixa aí nos comentários, deixa também aquele like, se inscreve no canal pra não perder nada, aquele abraço e até o próximo vídeo.